guys, my name is Luna, and in today's video I'll be teaching you how to create a full Christmas Minecraft skin. There will be two variations of the skin. The first one is a female skin and the second one is a male. If you're looking to create a female skin, then please follow the tutorial until the time on the screen shows. If although you are looking to make a male skin, then follow the tutorial until the video ends. So today I'm using Planet Minecraft Skin Editor. There will be a link to it in the description if you're interested in using it. This is the first skin that we're going to be making today. So first we are going to press the File button on the top left corner of the Skin Editor, and we're going to press Create a New Skin, and I will be selecting the Alex format. The first tool is the pencil, and you will spawn in the editor with this tool selected. The second tool is a noise tool, and I really don't recommend you ever use this tool. The third tool I am skipping because I've never used it before. The fourth tool is the clone mode tool, and I love this so much. It's very self-explanatory, but I will give you an explanation of how it works later on in this video. Next tool is the eraser, and that's pretty self-explanatory, and then is the color picker. Next tool is the fill bucket. Next we have the triangle, circle, and square brush. And lastly we have the pixel brush, which is the one that I use most of the time. Now that we're done with a brief explanation of some of the tools, let's hop on to making the skin. For the complexion of the skin, I decided to go with a dark caramel, but you can use whatever skin color you would like. Right now I'm filling in the area where I want the skin on the face. If you're using Planet Minecraft's editor, you're going to press the mirror button underneath the opacity options and turn on the mirror across the limbs. After that, you can put 3 pixels on the bottom of one of the arms, and the other side will automatically mirror. And once you're finished with that, you can fill in the area around the face with your desired hair color. And I decided to put a couple strands of hair across the front of the torso. Once you're happy with the shape of your hair, if you added a couple strands, go ahead and fill in the arms and the torso with a light green or dark green, it's up to you. And afterwards, I'm going to put a few red stripes on the legs to act as candy cane leggings. After that, I decided to put some dark chocolate boots onto the feet. And then we're going to take a black color for the eyelashes. I'm making them larger eyes. They're commonly known as teen-sized eyes, but you can make them smaller or big as you like. And then I'm going to put the whites on the outside of the eyes. And then for the iris, I decided to go for a dark brown. Here's just a little example of what smaller eyes look like. So I decided to put a little bit of shading on the iris and on the top of the white. So after all that, we are done with our base, so now we can start shading the entire skin. Right here I just wanted to tweak a few of my colors. While you're making your darker colors for the skin tone, you're going to go to the more desaturated side and turn your hue to the more purple side. As you make your darker shades, make sure you repeat that process over and over again until you've finished your palette. As you make highlights and lighter colors for your skin, make sure you go to the more saturated side, go upwards, and turn your hue to the more golden and yellow side. And then I just put some shading onto the neck and the fingers. You can just follow what I'm doing on the screen. Once you've done that, I'm going to go ahead and hide all the body parts except for the head so we can start shading the hair. So we're going to turn the head to the side and start making our palette for the hair. I went ahead and just dragged the eyelashes onto the sides of the head so it looked more clean. We're going to take our pre-existing hair color and fill in the white of the head. Now, using the same technique as we did for the skin palette, we are going to make the hair shades and highlights. Our pre-existing hair color is going to be the middle shade, and we're going to make 2 dark shades and 2 highlights. I didn't want the highlights to be super yellow, so I went for a more desaturated look. And now that we have all 5 of our colors, we are going to start shading the hair. I have a separate video on how to shade hair if you'd like to watch that for a more in-depth tutorial. This part will be a little bit more of a watch and learn process. Now we're going to switch to the square brush, and we're also going to turn on the clone mode. Make sure that the square brush is turned up all the way as high as it can go. Once you've done that, hover over the area you just shaded and click on it, and then that area will be copied onto your clipboard. And finally, the last thing you need to do is go to the back of the head and click on it. Make sure you cover up those eyelashes though, we don't want any eyelashes on the back of our heads. And voila! That's pretty much how the copy and paste tool works. I love it so much and I use it all the time. That's why I've switched over from Skindex to Planet Minecraft's editor. Alright, so we're almost done with the head. All we need to do is the roots, which is what we'll do right now. I'm creating a rectangle in our darkest shade on the top of the head and then just pretty much going off of that. Okay, now we're going to go to the bottom of the head and we're going to connect the pixels from the bottom of the sides and the back and just bring them down to the bottom as we are going to do with the skin as well. It's very important that you shade in all of the hidden places in your skin, because if players in game are using your skin and other people see black spots or just places that aren't shaded in while the rest of your skin is, it'll look weird, so make sure you do that. Trust me, it's all worth it at the end. Alright, when you are finished with that, it is time to move on to my favorite part, which is the overlay. And I love doing overlay because it makes your skins pop and it really adds that sense of uniqueness. So go ahead and turn on the helmet overlay, which we will be using for bangs, and overlay on the hair. And later in this video, we'll be doing a flower crown and some elf ears. I turned on the grid so you guys can see where I'm placing the pixels. So this part is pretty much just a watch and learn. You just fiddle around with it until you get the desired shape. Bangs usually take me a little while to figure out, so just be sure to be patient with this whole entire process because skins take a long time to make. I often zoom out on the entire skin to make sure that the bangs go with the skin, but you don't have to do this, I'm just extra. So now I'm just taking colors from the hair palette and just transferring them onto the bangs and shading them. Feel free to copy anything from the skin, I mean literally anything, because this is for you guys. This is one of my Christmas presents and I'm hoping to get another to you guys on Christmas Day. Okay, so hopefully you're finished with your bangs by now. If not, that's totally fine, take as much time as you need. But now I'm going to take the bangs and drag the pixels over to the sides of the head. And don't forget the top and the bottom either. Awesome! So now we can move on to the torso now that we are completely finished with the head. If you're having troubles figuring out what I'm doing for the shading on the hair, then you can just hop over to my other tutorial real quick on how to shade hair, and that should hopefully help you out just a little bit. Okay, so if you made hair, go ahead and turn on the outer layer and put some overlay on top of that so it makes it pop more. Alright, so now we are going to unhide all of the limbs so we can start on the shading for the clothes. So first we are going to take our green color, which we've already made, and then we are going to turn the hue to a more blue section, but make sure it still has some green in it. And then we are going to make the color darker, and this will be our darkest shade. We're going to go to the mirror tools and we are going to turn on the across limbs. And once you do that, we can start shading with our darkest color that we just made a few seconds ago. Next, we are going to make a slightly lighter shade than the one we just made. To do this, you take your darkest shade and shift the hue on the color wheel very slightly to the lime green area. And then you go upwards and to the right to the more saturated or bright side. And I'm using this to shade in the arms to make it look like a sweater. And now we're going to make our highlight color. So to do this, we're going to change the hue on the color wheel to more of the lime green or yellow side. And then we're going to take our pre-existing color and we're going to bring it upwards and to the right to the more saturated side. And now you can go ahead and put those highlights that we just made onto the arms. And now to make the sweater more interesting, we are going to add a pattern. Take the color white and draw a line across the arms and torso. I made sure that the pattern started 2 pixels down on the arms and 3 pixels down on the torso. I made my white pattern go down 4 pixels. And next I took the red from the candy cane leggings and I made a zigzag line on the white to make our pattern. I decided to add a little bit more shading on the arms, but this is totally optional. And then I put a little bit of shading on the legs where the sweater is and on the torso. Always make sure that when you're making skins that you always put a shadow underneath the head. And now I'm simply just adding the highlights. Now we're going to shade in the white for the pattern, and to do this you're going to take a gray, and I added a little bit of a purple tint to it. And I'm just adding that to the insides of the arms and the outside of the torso to create more depth. I also put some underneath the hair to create a shadow. And once you've done that, I'm going to create a lighter gray, and then I'm going to put it in between the little zigzags. And now we're going to take those gray shades and put them on the legs on the insides. And now we're going to make a red palette using the same technique as we did the skin. Shift your red to the more purple side of the color wheel and take your color, go down to the left and create your darkest shade. And then place your color on the inside of the legs. Make your lighter shades or highlights by turning your hue on the color wheel slightly to the orange section and then taking your color and going upwards and to the right to the saturated side. I'm also shading in the zigzags on the pattern. Once you're finished shading the sweater and the leggings, we can move on to shading the boots. We'll be using the same palette as we did the hair. I also used some of the darker shades from the eyes as well. Okay, so you have all of the shading done on the front of your skin. That's awesome. So now we're going to turn on the overlay for the entire skin and do some of that on the arms and the boots. Here I was going to add some fuzz on the boots, but I thought it looked too blendy, so I decided to get rid of it. Although I did add 2 pixels over top of the boots to make it look a little more interesting. This way it looks like actual boots for me. Here I added a little bit of overlay over top of the cuff to make the sweater sleeves look like they're puffy. I also added an additional highlight to the sweater, but this is unnecessary if you don't want it to look too complex. Now we're going to use our copy and paste method as we did the hair. We're going to take the cloning tool and our square brush and copy the entire front half of the arm. And then we're going to make sure that we turn our mirroring tool off completely. Turn your skin around to the back and then click on the X-axis button. Then paste the sleeve onto the back of your skin by clicking on it. And we're going to repeat the same exact process with the legs. And once you finish that, we are going to start on the hair on the back. I decided that I wanted her to have long, wavy hair. After you've made the entire shape of the hair, go ahead and take the eraser tool and shape the hair to give it the look that it's wavy. You can also leave it straight if that's the look you're going for. Now we're going to shade in the area you normally can't see them. They are called hidden areas, but they are just as important as everything else on the entire skin. What you're going to do next is drag the pixels from the back and the front onto the sides, upper area and lower area of the torso. Make sure you continue the pattern and the shading all around the skin. And don't forget to fill in the areas with color on the back of the skin underneath the hair. After you're finished with all of that, we're going to turn on the overlay for just the torso piece and add a little bit of overlay for the back of the hair. I also add just a little bit of overlay on the corners of the sweater so it looks puffier. Gosh, I love me a good puffy sweater. And now you're completely finished with your torso piece. Next we can move on to the arms and finish them up. They won't take quite as long because we can use the mirror tools on them and we already copied the back to them. Go ahead and turn the across limbs mirror tool on and start shading in the rest of the arms. If you're not quite sure what to do while shading them in, you can always just copy what I'm doing on screen. Make sure you remember to drag the overlay to the sides and the back of the arms too. Once you finish the arms, we can move on to the legs. Make sure that the sweater bit on the legs match up with the sweater on the torso. I finished the boots off by adding some overlay at the very bottom of the leg for added realism, and I also added a little bit of overlay to add to the puffiness of the sweater. Congratulations, you finished shading the entire skin. Now you can either stop here or proceed to watch the video to add elf ears and a little flower crown. After I do that, I will show you how to make a male variant of the skin. So right now we're going to turn the entire skin to the side and start making elf ears. I then drew the shape on both sides of the head. Now we're going to start shading them with the skin colors that we made just a little while ago. Now we're going to start on the flower crown. I say flower crown, but it's really more of like a little garland with berries on it. I made a green a little deeper than the sweater for it, and then I started making branches. Keep the crown up high and make sure it doesn't go down to the bottom of the head. I fiddle around with this until I get a shape that I'm happy with. And then I go ahead and put some red berries on top of it on the overlay. After that, I just go ahead and put just a little bit of shading on the branches. Then I copy this side of the head and paste it onto the other side. And then I finally go ahead and connect the two sides of the head to the back. Then top it off by adding the rest of the berries, and then you're finished! You can stop here if you wanted to make a female skin. Next I'll be showing how to turn the female skin into a male variant. So here we have the skin from the last segment of the video, and you'll need it if you want to make a male variant. All we're going to do is change just a few things about it to make it look more masculine. We'll start by covering up the hair on the front, and basically copy the left side of the sweater. Next, we're going to remove the overlay that we had on top of the hair. And now we're going to make the bangs shorter on the head and remove the eyelashes as well. We're just going to drag the hair color down over top of the eyelashes to do that. And then we'll replace 2 of the hair pixels with the skin colors to make the face look more thick. And now we'll drag those skin pixels and connect them to the ears on both sides of the head. Don't forget to fix those pixels underneath the head as well. Now the head is all fixed, now we just need to fix up the rest of the torso. Now I'm hiding the arms. And then I'm going to copy the right inside part of the torso and paste it on top of the left side. And right now I'm just copying the entire front half of the torso and pasting it onto the back to cover up all of that long wavy hair. Now I'm covering up the neck hole, and then I'm going to remove all the overlay on the back side. And then we'll just clean up all the hair on the insides of the skin and on the top of the torso. And once you've done that, you should be completely finished. Congratulations guys, you just made a full Minecraft skin. I really hope you guys found this video useful. It took me a really long time to make and I put a lot of love in it. Make sure you tag your skins with my username so I'll be sure to see them. I love you guys and I hope you have a great Christmas. Bye!